As a journalist, sometimes you think, you know what, if only I could report this story, people would then see the truth. Not necessarily. Keywords. I think there are a few. Of course, education is a very big one. Media literacy is another one. And critical thinking, I think, is probably the most important. I think the problems are universal. Some societies have different experiences because of their media ecosystem, for example, or also just people's familiarity with news online or how much news they're getting online. We know in different countries, people are on different platforms. And so you can kind of see trends that are slightly different, but the actual problem of misinformation and disinformation is universal. That is for sure. I think when you sit down and you really consider the situation, it can be extremely disheartening, because when the problem first kind of began to be something that academics were paying attention to, I think at first we thought, okay, well maybe more fact checking, more debunking, more, let's continue to check this out. But the phenomena moved very quickly and continues to move very quickly. And so now I think there's a recognition that, I don't want to say there's no solving the problem, but I think that we need to be understanding that it's going to take a lot of time, that there's no magic bullet to fix this. What we need to do is involve many different layers of society. We need to heavily educate people, make sure that when they encounter anything online, they're asking themselves how they know that this is true or factual. And also just so the public needs to be part of this. Journalists, of course, need to be part of this. The media, civil society, governments, and the way we look at how social media platforms as well kind of interact in all of this. So the solutions will have to come from many different sides, but I am reasonably hopeful that with the right focus and conviction that in years from now we will have mitigated the problem. We also have to remember that journalists do so much in their job. Their primary job is to go and tell what is happening. So who is doing what and why, right? That is kind of the essence of what a journalist's work is. And then there's investigations and there's all kinds of other work that journalists do. So to expect all journalists to debunk is too much. Of course, there are specialized journalists now, fact checkers that are doing extremely important work, but this is not work for all journalists, for example. I think journalists do, however, need to think about what potential data deficits might be arising in the societies that they cover. Because when you look at what kind of chatter is going on online, for example, you can almost see where the disinformation may begin to surface, and you can pre-bunk as well, which is the idea that you warn people. An election may be coming. You might see something like this. This is not true, right? So it takes a bit of thinking, a little bit of prep for journalists as well to consider that, as they think about things to pitch or stories to cover or, the work that they do. So that's one thing. And then of course the education part is critical, and it's education for journalists, but also for the public. And that is something that is super important, just to get people to really be critical when they're encountering any information online. we know that, a lot of people don't think twice, because one thing that we do know that's very important is that our relationship to information is emotional. As a journalist, sometimes you think, you know what, if only I could report this story, people would then see the truth. Not necessarily. People will see what draws them. They will connect with their communities, their friends, their family, and that trust will come first often from those people, and whether or not they're circulating disinformation or misinformation. So this is what we have to understand as well, that the relationship to information is emotional. So knowing that and keeping that in mind will also help, I think, long term.